Another day, another episode of people hating on others just for reading books. God, I love book talk. For those of you who aren't in the know, the Daily Mail recently posted this article talking about the release of Onyx Storm, the third book in the Fourth Wing series. But rather than make a nice, fair and balanced article talking about the series, why it's so popular, what the fans love about it, and young people getting back into reading literature, they decided to go the old tired fairy porn romantasy route. I want to say I'm surprised, but hey, this is the Daily Mail we're talking about. You know, the same Daily Mail that's marked as low in terms of factual reporting with a very right-leaning bias. But I could be wrong. Let's give the Daily Mail the benefit of the doubt and have a look through the article, shall we? Okay, well, right off the bat, we know the people who wrote this article have no idea what the hell they're talking about because the Fourth Wing series isn't fairy porn because there's no fairies in it. I mean, I'm no pornography expert, but I'm pretty sure for something to be labelled fairy porn, you have to have fairies in it. Good to see the Daily Mail's continuing the low factual reporting here. Hundreds of fans of the fairy porn genre were spotted waiting outside bookshops across the UK to be the first to get their hands on a copy of Onyx Storm by Rebecca Yarros. There we go again with the fairy porn word. It's almost like you guys are going to keep trying to drill the words fairy porn into your readers' heads to create a negative stereotype about a bunch of readers. Videos posted onto social media saw bookworms show up in fancy dress, taking part in dragon-themed quizzes and buy a coveted copy of the viral hit. Oh my god, stop the presses. The young people are waiting in line at midnight to buy a book and they're cosplaying characters from that favourite book and doing quizzes and having fun. Christ has come. Oh, the humanity. Well, that article didn't really tell me or reinforce anything except for the fact that older people are going to hate younger people no matter what the hell they do. The fairy porn or romantasy genre has taken the world by storm, with its fans being mainly young middle-class women. Okay, I don't know why they're bringing class into this, but this is the Daily Mail we're talking about. You know, the same Daily Mail that was ranked as such a poor and unreliable source of information that Wikipedia formally banned them. And secondly, why are you linking fairy porn and romantasy together? They're two completely separate things. Romantasy is a portmanteau of the romance and fantasy genres of books and literature. And fairy porn, besides being a lazy generalization, is an informal subcategory of pornography. And a pretty colloquial one at that. And I know that people like to believe that pornography is a book genre, but it very much isn't. I made a whole other post on this a while ago, why book talkers are not porn addicts and the differences between spicy literature and pornography, but I'll give you the SparkNote version here. Of all the book genres that we have, some say between 15, 35, even high as 50, there's only one that can come close to pornography, and that's erotica. But even then, erotica is a colloquial subgenre of the romance genre. But even then, there are several differences between erotica and pornography. Pornography comes from a combination of the Greek Roman words porne and graphos, meaning depiction and prostitution, so to depict prostitution. Erotica comes from the Greek word erotikos, meaning matters pertaining to eros, love and passion, or lack of want and desire. While pornography is just only about sex and sexual gratification, erotica is about sexuality, a more artistic expression of what someone exploring their wants and desires and finding self-fulfillment. To put it in an insultingly simple way, it's more about aesthetic, exploration, not gratification. Not purely about the sexual elements, but more about the aesthetic, emotional, and self element. That's not even mentioning the fact that erotica is a book genre, which means that it's bound by much different rules and formats than pornography is. But I'll get into that another time, I've lost track already. Then the article goes into what the romantasy genre is. Oh, this ought to be fun. The romantasy genre, which sees writers blend romance and elements of high fantasy, is mostly popular with young women and has turned Sarah J. Maas into a best-selling author with her A Court of Thorns and Roses ACOTAR series. How did I know they were going to bring Sarah J. Maas into this? I thought this was about Rebecca Yarros. Romantasy was first posted on Urban Dictionary in 2008, but it's thanks to TikTok and Maas, whose books have sold 37 million copies, that it's really taken off. Oh, so if there's a definition of romantasy on Urban Dictionary, and this is an article about fairy porn, then that must mean that the Urban Dictionary definition of romantasy involves porn in some capacity, right? Romantasy, a novel that's a hybrid between a fantasy and romance novel, posted on July 27th, 2008. Oh, is anyone else seeing the links to pornography and fairy porn there? Yeah, nice credible sourcing there, guys. The hashtag on the social media platform for ACOTAR alone has been viewed over 14 billion times, with the appeal put down to the high levels of spice and smut. I mean, it could also be the themes of freedom and autonomy, power, healing and trauma, found family, feminine empowerment and romance, but yeah, it's all about the spice and the smut. Tell me you haven't read the series without telling me you haven't read the series. Then the article recites one of the sex scenes from A Court of Mist and Fury to kind of try and drive in the point that these books are only about pornography. Okay, to go back to here on what I said about the differences between pornography and spicy books, I said before that books are bound by different rules. What I mean by this is if you film a porno, you just need sex scenes, that's all. But if you're just writing a book, you can't have only sex scenes, you need more than that. You need story, plot, themes, characters, character arcs, and you need to make all of them engaging and do it at only between 200 or 300 pages, preferably. How do I know this? Because the 50 Shades of Grey books are probably the most famous and best-selling erotica novel of all time. But despite all that popularity, even to this day, it is criticised for its lackluster plot, bland characters, and cringy-ass dialogue. But even then, with books that do have sex scenes, you don't have sex scenes on every single page. Even in 50 Shades of Grey, there were still scenes where Anastasia and Christian were out doing their own thing before hooking up. Like this little excerpt from A Court of Mist and Fury, yes, it was from a sex scene. There are 3 sex scenes in 3 chapters across the entire book. But do you know how many chapters there are in that book? 70, including a short epilogue. So that means even with those 3 explicit sex scenes in there, you still have about 67 to 66 different chapters of other stuff happening to progress the characterization and the plot. Pornography, on the other hand, you don't need to put characterization or themes or anything important in there because people are only there for the gratification. When was the last time you saw someone criticize a porno by saying, yeah, I liked Mia Khalifa in the role, but her character arc just wasn't believable? Or, yeah, Riley Reid was okay, but who the hell wrote this dialogue? It's completely unbelievable. I'll give you a hint, never. So if this fairy porn, romantasy, erotica, pornography, whatever, are all the same thing, why are they bound by such different rules, different formatting, different purposes, and different etymology? Look, I'd go on more, but I'm already massively running over time, and the rest of the article is just scholars and people complaining about Welsh bastardisation in the ACOTAR books. Which is interesting because wasn't this about the Empyrean series to start off with? Oh, Jesus Christ, these people can't even keep track of their own article. But then again, this is the Daily Mail we're talking about. You know, the same Daily Mail that has a factual reporting grade of 39.7. Basically putting it in the first percentile of a dataset assessing 240 news sources and being ranked as the 3rd lowest of that 240. So in conclusion, the Fourth Wing series is not fairy porn. Fairy porn and romantasy are 2 absurdly different things. People need to stop ragging on others for doing something they like. Reading is friggin' awesome. It needs to be done and celebrated more. And the Daily Mail has such poor integrity, not even Jack Barlow would want anything to do with them. So, yeah, that's all I had to say.